Hello friends! Welcome back to my channel. Today we're serving up some saucy savings with our very own pasta challenge. Two different price points, two very different stores. We've got the ultimate dollar store versus the upscale grocery showdown. And yes, if you are in fact new here, this is a place where you can subscribe for weekly challenges and experiments in the kitchen. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so for this experiment, I went head to head against myself. That's right. In one corner, we have the one and only Dollar Tree, and in the other, the oh-so-fancy-pants Trader Joe's. To make things fair, we're both making spaghetti and meatballs. But let's start with the pasta. From the Dollar Tree, I grabbed their dried spaghetti. It comes in at $1 a pack and serves 4 people. At Trader Joe's, they didn't have spaghetti, but they did have a nice selection of fettuccine, which is just as great for this experiment. For $1.89 a package, it serves 2 people. So in order to keep things even, I grabbed 2 packages of the Trader Joe's fettuccine. All in all, it costs $3.78 for the pasta alone. If you're going the Dollar Tree route, you could literally get 4 meals for the price of one at Trader Joe's. Now let's take a look at the sauces. The Dollar Tree had marinara sauce for $1 a can. Trader Joe's had a more gourmet marinara sauce for $1.69. Once again, to keep things equal, I picked up 2 cans of the Trader Joe's sauce. In total, that came out to $3.38. Now don't be fooled by the lower price tag. The Dollar Tree sauce does contain significantly less than the Trader Joe's counterpart, so it's likely that you'll need more than 1 can for a single serving. I was kind of surprised by the meatball section at the Dollar Tree. They had a bag of frozen meatballs that looked quite enticing, so I decided to grab them. However, they were selling these as Swedish meatballs, so perhaps I should have left them behind. Regardless, I brought them home to compare them to the $4.99 package of beef and pork meatballs from Trader Joe's. Finally, at the Dollar Tree, I grabbed a small can of what looked to be Parmesan cheese for the topping. At Trader Joe's, they had real Parmesan in several varieties. I chose an aged version because why the heck not when you're already spending more than triple the cost? All in all, the entire meal cost under $5 for 4 servings from the Dollar Tree. For the same number of servings at Trader Joe's, the bill rang up to a whopping $15, and that's nearly $1 per serving. Ouch. Once I arrived home, it was time to cook. I started the water boiling for my pasta and got to work on the sauces. One thing I love about both of these recipes is that they are super simple and call for basically no skill. As the pasta cooked, I stirred the pots occasionally until the sauces were warm. Since I opted for the homemade meatballs, I sautéed them in a skillet for a few minutes on each side. To really bring out the flavors, I added a little bit of oil and sprinkled on some salt and pepper. By the time the pasta was tender, everything else was ready to go. After I strained the pasta, I dished up 2 portions. One was the Dollar Tree pasta and sauce, and the other was the Trader Joe's fettuccine with the fancy sauce. Now I wasn't sure what to expect with the Dollar Tree meatballs, but I figured they'd probably taste fine with a little ketchup. To my surprise, they were rather bland. Thankfully, the Dollar Tree marinara sauce was surprisingly good. It brought some much-needed flavor and juiciness to the otherwise boring meatballs. I was also pleasantly surprised by the spaghetti itself. Sure, it's nothing to write home about, but it was totally acceptable for a quick weeknight meal. And after mixing in some Parmesan, the whole thing was pretty tasty. After my first bite, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. Was it gourmet? No. Was it amazing? Absolutely not. But it was hearty, filling and satisfying, and all things considered, it wasn't bad at all. I mean, let's be honest, we're talking about a meal that costs just $1.25 per serving. It's hard to beat that price point without sacrificing taste. Plus, if you choose to buy 2 packages of the pasta, you can easily double the recipe and end up with 8 servings for around $7. Considering the price, the Dollar Tree meal gets 2 thumbs up from me. While the Dollar Tree meal was cooking away, I got to work on the Trader Joe's version. First, I tossed the fettuccine into the boiling water and gave it a good stir. While the pasta cooked, I warmed up the sauce in a saucepan. As it bubbled away, I got to work on the finishing touches. I shaved some Parmesan onto a plate using the handy-dandy cheese grater and got busy chopping up some fresh basil. When the pasta was almost tender, I pulled out my colander and drained it. Then I returned it to the now empty saucepan. Next, I slowly mixed in the sauce, being careful not to burn it. Finally, I tossed in the basil and mixed it around until it was evenly distributed. And finally, it was time to plate it all up. I put some pasta on each plate and sprinkled on some freshly grated Parmesan. Just looking at it, you can see that the Trader Joe's version is definitely more visually appealing. There's something about the combination of fresh herbs and higher quality ingredients that makes it look more appetizing. But will it actually taste better? Well, it's time to find out. My first bite was absolutely delicious. The sauce had a rich, deep flavor that coated the pasta perfectly. The Parmesan was sharp and salty, and the basil added a nice brightness to cut through all the richness. I loved the tender chewiness of the fettuccine and the way it soaked up all the flavors. This was definitely the superior pasta. No doubt about it. The difference in quality was like night and day. I could tell that all those fancy ingredients made a difference. It was worth every penny. On the flip side, though, I couldn't help but feel a twinge of Trader Joe's remorse. I mean, $15 for 2 servings is steep. Even though it was delicious, I was left wondering if I'd be better off buying a higher quality pasta from a cheaper store. Maybe I could get something similar from Aldi or Walmart. And then I realized that I didn't have to wonder. I already had an answer. I just needed to do another experiment. If you're liking this video so far, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And while you're at it, why not subscribe to my channel for more fun experiments and delicious recipes? For this experiment, I decided to visit Aldi once again. They had 2 different types of fettuccine, one for $1.49 and the other for $1.99. Since I was already spending more than twice as much as I would at the Dollar Tree, I decided to go for the slightly more expensive option. I paired it with a jar of their marinara sauce for $1.39 and a bag of their seasoned beef and pork meatballs for $2.99. This brought the total cost to $6.86, which is still significantly more than the Dollar Tree option, but nowhere near as expensive as the Trader Joe's version. With the new ingredients in hand, I got to work on another batch of pasta. This time, I went with the Trader Joe's route. I put the pasta to boil, warmed up the sauce, and got to work on the meatballs. I sautéed them in a skillet for a few minutes until they were nice and brown. Once the pasta was tender, I drained it and returned it to the pot. Next, I mixed in the sauce and let it simmer for a few minutes. To finish it off, I sprinkled on some Parmesan and mixed it around until it was evenly distributed. After plating it all up, I took a big bite and let the flavors dance around in my mouth. I have to say it was pretty darn good. The sauce was rich and flavorful, and the meatballs were juicy and well-seasoned. The fettuccine was also perfectly cooked, and it soaked up all the flavors like a sponge. Overall, it was a solid meal. I enjoyed it a lot. But the question is, did it justify the cost? I think the answer is maybe. It was definitely nicer than the Dollar Tree version, but it was hard to justify spending so much money on something that's so basic. Well, my friends, it's time to declare a winner. And in this case, there really isn't one. It all depends on what you value most. If you're on a tight budget, Dollar Tree pasta is your best bet. It's cheap, cheerful, and totally edible. On the other hand, if you want to treat yourself or you're hosting a fancy dinner party, go for the Trader Joe's pasta. It's pricey, but it's worth every penny. Well, that's a wrap, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this little pasta showdown. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And if you're headed to the store today, be sure to snap a pic of your receipt and share it in the comments below. I always love seeing what you guys are eating. Until next time, happy shopping and happy eating.